Awesome Live TV.
Yes. Awesome Live TV. Live in the octane.
Leave my balls.
This is how we make every decision in here with a magic 8-ball. Doorbell. Right.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Mark Ash and this is Simon Barnes. And we are going to talk a little bit today about tuning boxes, and in particular, the RaceChip tuning box. So, we're all aware there's been much controversial stuff out there on YouTube and Facebook about whether a RaceChip works and how it works, and more essentially, is it safe? So, we've decided today to basically put you guys into the driving seat of an M2 competition and also a Mark 7 Golf R with GPF. I think it's a 2019 car. Yep. And we're going to go to the dyno. We're going to put you in the car. We're going to do a stock run with...
We'll run everything stock. We'll do any checks we need to do. We'll do in stock form, and then we'll do, obviously, once the unit's fitted. Yep,
so we'll be able to show you power on the dyno in stock form, and then obviously with the RaceChip fitted. I'll probably do that in maybe RaceChip 7, which is the...
We'll just go straight in on the hottest setting, and we'll see the figures and we'll look at the data. Okay,
so we're also going to talk about some of the data that we find, probably do that on the Mark 7 more and get more in depth on the Mark 7, talk about some fuel trims and stuff.
Yeah,
and try and tackle two questions really. Is a RaceChip safe? And more importantly, does it actually make power? So once we've done these two cars, this is what this video will bring you. We're also going to take the cars out on the road in the next video, and we're going to do 0 to 60 in stock form and with the RaceChip.
Yeah. 100 to 200.
Well, so obviously we need a private road to be able to do that. And we'll do the quarter-mile times as well. So we'll do that in both the... You can do it in the Golf 7R, and I'll do it in the M2 competition because I've seen you drive that car and he is not safe. Correct? Sideways or off, can't even keep it on the track. So we'll bring that in the next video, and we're also going to do exactly the same test on a Golf, well not Golf, we can do it Golf GTD. Or should we take, or any diesel really, we can do it on any diesel. We'll take a diesel and we'll do a RaceChip and see how that performs obviously on a diesel model.
Predominantly the stuff we've done with the RaceChip's been petrol, so I would like to get in a diesel so we can take a look at the data on that and maybe debunk some of the data videos being shared out there.
Yep.
On the RaceChip. So,
enough of him talking. Let's get you into the interior of the... We're going to do the BMW first?
M2's on the dyno.
M2's on the dyno. And then we'll do the Golf 7 today as well. So, see you in a bit. I'm born to love again. I'm a brand new man. Anyway, Tabby, talk a little bit about what you're going to obviously log on this car compared to the Mark 7. What's the difference there?
There's a couple of differences between this car and the Mark 7. I mean, one of the strategies of the way that they're measuring the airflow on this one is done by a mass airflow sensor, whereas the Golf 7.5 or any of the Golf R's are a speed density. I say any of the Golf R's, the Mark 7 platform. It's all done by speed density, so the way that the air is measured is different, but they're both still closed loop fueling systems, so the oxygen sensors can adapt with the fuel trim, which is what we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth. And basically what the tuning box takes advantage of, the ECU's capabilities to adapt the fuel trims, which is what basically makes them do what they do. So.
Okay, cool. So, are we ready to do the first run?
Yeah, it's warm enough now. We'll do a run stock, and then we'll do a couple of runs stock, and then we'll do a couple of runs tune.
So, what are we expecting to see? There is no modifications on this M2 competition at all.
So this is completely bone stock. So I would imagine it'd do the 410 horsepower.
Okay,
advertising.
Let's go for it. Well, we're just on a stock run.
Yeah.
Your PC is linked up directly to the dyno PC.
Yeah.
So you can see exactly what is on that screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
first stock run, 408 horsepower and 431 foot-pounds of torque. So pretty much
bang on.
bang
really.
on where it's supposed to be. So what we're going to do now, we'll analyse the data and then we'll go and we'll run it in 07.
Brilliant. Let's do that. Right, so we have just done a 5th gear run, and this produced on a 5th gear run 506.98 and increased the torque to 519. So the stop run was 406. Then the race chip on the performance setting 7 did 489 in 4th gear pole, and then we decided to push it a little bit more and we did the 5th gear run, and that did 506.98. And we'll probably be able to show you this and put the graphs up individually on the runs. So yeah, all in all, good result. What's your feeling about how the car performed in the logs, etc.? Is anything there that you saw untoward?
Nothing untoward. I mean, the way the box works is it relies on the ECU to sort of make the adjustments to the fuel and the fuel trims, all well within a factory specification.
So
I've seen some sort of tunes out there that are horrendous on the fuel trims, much worse than what you'd see from the tuning box. It's never going to be 100% on the trims because you don't have the capabilities that you do from like a proper ECU tune, but
yep.
as a product of what it is.
You'll be happy. You're happy with this tune. I mean, we've been driving on this car for the last 6 months.
This gets being on all the time,
and this has been on the track.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're happy with that product. I hope you guys will be happy with the product. We're going to bring you a lot more information on this car because very shortly, probably the beginning of next week, we're going to actually be out with this car on the road. We're going to be doing weather permitting, and it's dry.
It's always dry in Mexico.
It's true. We're going to be doing some 0 to 60, some 100 to 200s, and a quarter mile. We'll do that, and we're also going to do this on our Golf as I've suggested earlier on.
Yeah, we'll try and go into a little bit more information.
You'll drive that one, I'll drive this one, yeah?
We'll try and go into a bit more information on the logs with the Golf. We just got better ways of graphing the data out and logging the data, so it makes it easier to understand, so we can walk through that a bit deeper on the
In
logs.
actual fact, what we'll probably do is tag on the Golf into this video and we'll get this done all together.
Probably do. Yeah, we'll tag both the dyno stuff on, make one video out of the dyno stuff, and then we'll probably make one video out of both.
So we'll see you later on with the Golf 7R. We're obviously going to run the car on its stock. So what is it that you're actually checking for whilst we're running?
So a few of the things we're going to check. We're going to check the timing pull. We're going to check stock form. We're going to check the boost pressure via VAGCOM. That'll be an issue afterwards. We wouldn't be able to check that via VAGCOM just because the box is giving false
Okay, so that's one of the bits that you can't do and check. Obviously, is there any way of checking that? Because I guess that happens at calibration. When
basically in the calibration process, we can log the box and we can log the actual reference at the sensor. We can also instrument the car and put a mechanical gauge in if we really want to, but it's not always necessary.
Yeah.
So yeah, during the calibration process, that can all be logged. So in theory, you should never have to log that afterwards. The box is actually set. If it ever hits outside of a certain parameter, it will turn the race chip off anyway.
Okay.
So it has that added safety in there. So realistically, it's not tunable by the user, the end user. So there's no real reason why they need to see the boost pressure.
Because they're not adjusting it.
Not adjusting anything to suit. And I guess it's like an off-the-shelf ECU tune. It is what it is. There's no way of adjusting it.
Yeah.
They don't have to see that.
Okay, so let's do the run in stock and see what we got. And anything you see as we run, you pull out. Your pull out was good.
Pull out game, not so good.
so that's our first stock run.
Yep.
Just
303 horsepower and 307 foot-pounds of torque.
okay, so that's pretty much the factory figures.
Yep.
303. Okay, so do you want to go and unplug the blank in the race chip box so
Yep.
that's active?
Put the race chip on.
Put the race chip on in mode 7, and let's just go straight in and do a run and see what we got.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so race chip is ready. We're ready. Let's do the run on here and let's see what we get on the figures.
Gladiators.
Let's
Are
go.
you ready?
We're ready.
Right.
Not sure how to go down. What we got?
369 horsepower and 370 foot-pounds of torque. So first run we've made 63 newton meters and we have made 66 horsepower.
Okay, so that's pretty good. Right, so that's us off the dyno. Both cars are done. We're now up in my office up here where we can see the data on the screen. And Tabby, if you can go through and talk about what you see here.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to drop on to the Habib. Hurry up and pans the camera around. Are you with us now, Habib? Caught up? Yeah. You can talk, you know.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So all that we've got on the graph initially is just the engine speed. Important for referencing, you know, in all the logs. What we'll do is we'll just drop on the time retardation for each cylinder, so we can see during the run. So the worst point, you've got -3 on cylinders 2 and 1. After obviously the run's finished, it does drop a little bit further to a 5.25, but that is on the overrun on the shift. This is, as I said before, this is in stock form. It's one of the other things we will check is the specified actual charge pressure. So basically the bluish line that you can see is what the ECU is requesting, and the green line is what it's actually seeing on the map sensor. So you can just scroll it along. We're pretty much dialed, you know, within 0.4 of what it's requesting there, so you know, that's good. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the short-term fuel trims. So basically this is the ECU adapting dynamically for, you know, its target mixture.
So what does this actually mean for the customer? What you know, let's talk about layman's terms, so that somebody that doesn't have your knowledge that understands what this actually is doing.
So basically the ECU is targeting a specified sort of lambda or AFR, and what this is doing is adapting that in a percentage. So basically goes up to about 25% each way, dependent on the ECU. But what it'll do is either pull fuel out or it'll add fuel to suit to keep that mixture perfect. So basically what it's doing is the lambda sensors, or the oxygen sensors in the exhaust, are measuring the level of oxygen compared to obviously the air intake, and it's calculating.
So obviously
basically,
a lot of people talk about fuel trims, you know, but where does this is this you feel this is a safe?
This is stock.
This is
so
stock.
this is the we're just having a quick run through on the stock, so people can see, you know,
the
a stock calibration by no means in most cars isn't perfect.
Okay, so this is the stock tune, factory stock tune.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're going to have a look at the.
I mean, the absolute perfect fuel trim to see would, you know, you would be 0, but I mean that's never going to happen.
Okay, cool.
But what we're seeing here is the ECU adapting. Generally what you'll see is it'll float generally between like 4% either way on most cars. They are actually quite dialed in. But you can see here on the actual graph, you can see as it increases up the RPM, you can see it's taking fuel out, so 3.1%, you know, pretty much the same. Then it starts to level out, 0.8, then it's 0 flat, and then again taking fuel out 1.6, and it does that all the way through to red line. Okay. So when we look at the tuned logs, which we'll get up shortly, I've just got another set of stock logs to go through. You will probably see is what the ECU is doing is adapting. So what you'll see is it'll be adding fuel, and it'll be doing that to compensate for the extra airflow that it's measuring.
Okay, so let's look at the next graph.
So change the log. So this is basically just another log we've done on stock form. So we're measuring the throttle position. So OEM strategy for boost control is they like to use the throttle valve to control boost. So you'll see that here, right here. You can see that, you know, they're closing the throttle off. It's opening, it's closing, it's opening, it's closing.
So that's the OEM calibration again?
That is a complete stock calibration.
Stock calibration.
Yeah. So as I said, that's one of the strategies the OEM calibrators use to help control the boost.
Okay.
Now, that by all means isn't great. I mean, one of the, I guess, downfalls of a tuning box is you will have no control over that. So how that looks now,
yeah,
it'll be how it looks afterwards. So the throttle light open, close, open, close, open.
Yeah.
Now, exhaust gas temperature, you'll just see this increase all the way up through the RPM. Yeah. So we're seeing a peak of 909, 914, just before, 909, and then obviously that just increases after the shift. So it's 909 degrees. It's measuring in the exhaust system. Again, they're just the short-term fuel trims and the charge air pressure.
Yeah.
So what we'll do now, let me just drag the... Right, okay, so now what we're looking at is the tuned logs. I say tuned logs, this is the logs on the RaceChip box. Okay, we want to just pan that back to the screen,
round to have a look at the graph.
So again, as always, the engine speed's in there, just a reference. We'll drop in the time retardation. You'll see a little bit more activity now. -3 is a peak on cylinder 1. -3
why are we only seeing that on that cylinder? Well, that's just that's your different cylinders there. So you're going, that's cylinder 1, is it?
Yeah, that's just obviously what it's seeing on that cylinder.
And then the next is cylinder 2.
Yeah, that's cylinder 2. So again, I mean, the noisiest of the two on the stock calibration, or like completely bone stock, it was 1 and 2, wasn't it? Yeah, pretty sure it was 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's increased a little bit, but you know, -3.
I mean, that's what I was talking about. We're seeing -3 on the OEM, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, 2.5. I think like
Okay.
towards the red line. Not as bad. I mean, this isn't bad. -3 is probably as much as I like to see, but you know, it's doing. You know, the ECU's doing its thing, doing its not control. That's what it's there for.
Yep.
Charge pressure, I mean, we can put that on, but it's really going to mean nothing because, you know, the ECU, what the ECU is seeing there, it looks stock to the ECU, and this is the same sort of specified actual that it was seeing in stock form. So, you know, that is basically just the ECU's being lied to there, so that as we mentioned before, you can't on VAGCOM, so you can't take that as a gospel anyway. So.
Yeah.
As I said, there's different ways of logging that throughout the calibration process.
But not something we need to see.
It's not something the end user needs to see as such. I mean, people might have a different opinion on that, but you know, there isn't really any reason for them to see that.
Okay.
And as I said before, the actual RaceChip unit, if it sees, you know, like, so if you had like an overboost condition, if the RaceChip box sees it go over a certain parameter that the RaceChip box wants to see, it will shut the box off. So then obviously the ECU sort of safety parameters can kick in properly anyway. So, you know, it has that level of safety and backup in there.
And again, right, so we're going to drop to the fuel trim. So as you see here, as we're coming on up the rev band, we start to see positive trims. So we're seeing 10.4, 9s, 8s, 10.4. Let's see, like 10.8 is probably the highest we've seen. It drops tails back off a little bit towards the red line. So again, that's the ECU just requesting to add fuel to help reach its target lambda. So what that'll do is it will increase the injection on time, so the amount of time that the injector's open, it will increase that to help adapt that, to help adapt the fuel to where it.
So is there any negatives that you see here?
I mean, as a safety aspect, the ECU is doing what it's supposed to be doing, and it's allowing. It's got allowances for things like this. I mean, I guess you could argue that it takes away a little bit of the headroom of the fueling system, so to speak. But I mean, the limitations this car's looking at right now looks okay. I wouldn't be worried about it, which is why, you know, we've put them on these cars and we've chose to.
And we've been running these on these cars for 6 months or so.
Periods of time. They've all done track events, drag events. You know, they're driven daily in some respects when they can, if they're not being stolen off your driveway.
Okay. Well, I think we need to conclude really here.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, for me, and like what we do is awesome as a whole. ECU tuning, you know, is the ultimate. I mean, a full. When I say ECU tuning, there's a lot of people out there that, you know, wouldn't even come close to a race chip box in the way they calibrate, because, you know, there's some garbage out there, to be fair. Let's be honest. But, you know, a proper, well done calibration, you know, is the next level from a tuning box.
But this has a purpose in the market.
Absolutely. I mean,
you know, as well, I say entry level, but I mean, what we've seen here from the figures from the car. I mean, we've got a BMW M2 doing
from experience. I mean, you've got, you know, a product we've had on the BMW. It's ran perfectly fine. We've had an issue with the car where it had to go back for a recall, a warranty issue, and it's gone back. We took the box off.
Come through, came back, and
perfect.
Under warranty.
Never had an issue. So from that point of view, I'm not saying, you know, every car 100% ever in the world is going to pass a warranty with a race chip box on, but there's that more of a level. It's removable, and I mean, so for that,
we're actually running a race chip currently on our RS6 C8. We've actually done the development here in conjunction with the guys from RaceChip in Germany, and we're going to give you some feedback on that in the next coming weeks as well. So yeah, we're happy to put it on the car. We're also now quite a technical support relationship here in the UK. Any of the RaceChip products that you buy from one of the RaceChip dealers here in the UK get supported and back up with us here at RaceChip UK Trade, and by the guys obviously in Germany supporting us. So
one of the things, you know, if there is an issue out there, or, you know, and we're not blinkered to the fact that there has been problems. You know, we want to know about it. We want to rectify it.
You know, if anyone's has purchased a race chip from us or purchased a race chip from one of our dealers, then our dyno and our support is here for you guys, and that's our pledge to you, obviously, from the race chip. So I want to say thanks very much for watching. We're going to put a link to the race chip on site in the video somewhere here down below. And yeah, I hope you found it a little bit informative.
Some of you may have found it really boring, but yeah.
And so I no doubt that there'll be some critical criticism
as always,
in the comments, as we expect. But you know, we're just bringing what the data that we've found, and more importantly, the two cars that we've done and how they performed, which is exceptional.
As we mentioned at the beginning, one of the things we've been trying to do is just trying to be a little bit more informative about what the box is, what it does, and show you that, you know, it isn't going to blow your car up, it isn't going to do this, and, you know, all the rumoured things that might be out there about.
And some of the time, it's actually being down to I'm not saying a fitting error to the customer, but you know, you need to make sure
we see a lot that is just blatantly down to fitment error. And you know, like I said before, that it hasn't been without issues, and
that's what
And
we're here for,
I'm sure,
to be.
you know, there's vehicles out there that we haven't had on our dyno and checked, and I'm pretty sure there are a few vehicles that may have an issue. But like I said, from our point of view, that's what we're here to do. So I'm going to end it on that. The support's here. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon.